welcome back to another episode of the Golden Domers Report. I am Landen and Traylor, joined by host Dylan Kerns. Welcome back, Dylan.
I'm glad to be back.
Of course, our loaded panel as usual, Logan, Traylor, and John Richards as usual. Guys, welcome back to the show. We absolutely love having both of you on the show, mostly every week. You guys, beyond grateful to have you guys on the show. So that's our panel today. So the Irish are coming off of a 41-13 victory over the Wisconsin Badgers, now unranked. We're 18th in the country. Logan hit it right on cue. He said 30-13, and Logan, I'm going to give you about 1 minute to just get it all out.
No, I want to say that obviously that 41-13 score is not how the game was actually, how close. It doesn't measure how close it was. It was good to see, though, that in the second half, more importantly, that obviously our defense was a high level. We showed our depth, our defensive ends. Houston did a great job. See a young guy like that have an impact early is definitely, a bright spot for the program, bright spot for our defense. It was, for me, the biggest takeaway. We could talk about the defense, how well they play. We could talk about Kevin Austin, how well he played. We can talk about Pine and how well he played. I thought that our offensive line, towards the end of that game, you saw Kyron getting 4, 5, 6 yards, not consistently, but something that we haven't seen all year. And that to me was like, okay, maybe that, the O-line is going in a right direction. It's still very bad. It can't get much worse. So the only direction is to go up. But it was good to see that because, if we can get past that first level and our O-line can do that, I think when we have guys like Kyron and Chris, it gives our athletes a chance and more opportunities to get out in the open and create for our guys.
Absolutely does. JR, your thoughts on the game?
Nice win. Wisconsin's not very good. Last week's show, I made a note and I forgot to say it that we were probably going to need a play on special teams or defense to win. It's nice that we got it on both. All three phases of the game of the team were working, and I think a positive for me is our depth. Heinisch was out, Cone was hurt, Buckner was banged up. We talked about how Pine is listed as the second quarterback on the depth chart. He came through and he played pretty well. So now we don't have two quarterbacks. Now maybe we have three. Not quite sure how that's going to manifest itself moving forward, but definitely a nice win. Listen, if Brian Kelly can get this team to 4-0, 5-0, I could argue that it's his best coaching job to date, given the circumstances.
Absolutely. And, we have the depth to do that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like you mentioned, 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, what do we do? End of the day, I think a hot topic we got to talk about, and this is where I want to bring Dylan in, is who starts. We have 3 very good quarterbacks. Obviously, 2 are better than the other. I think I know where you're going to go with this, Dylan. But who starts? Who gets to start?
When you look at Jack Cohn, he has the experience. I think that's the one thing that jumps off the page right away is he's got the experience. I mean, there's times where he looks competent. There's times where he looks like absolute crap every single time he steps on the field. So he's a tale of two halves. He brings that leadership and that experience. But then you see the legs of Buckner and how he can extend plays. And he's this flashy quarterback that you could have behind center and someone that could really help out if your offensive line is not performing, if they go back to where they were before or early on in the season. You need someone that can get out of the pocket, extend the plays, because Jack Cohn is a statue behind that line, and he can get drilled. It seems like you touch him and he falls over every single time. So then Pine comes in, and Pine is sort of like a mixture of both. He doesn't have the experience. He did play a little bit last year, but, I mean, he has the ability to lead your offense, and those were some big drives coming in. The game was close. He managed the game, and he found a way to put up some points in some big spots. So I love what I saw from Drew Pine. I think Buckner gives you that ability to run with the legs, but I do think Cohn has the veteran leadership there on that team. So it's sort of a combination of all three, and it's up to Brian Kelly which direction he wants to go in. Does he want Pine to get that right now he looked like he could drive down the field and be a big game quarterback. How will he fare in a big situation like that? That's what we haven't seen yet. Buchner's got the legs, and like I said, Cohn's got the experience.
Go ahead, JR.
You know, we discussed a couple of shows ago, the only reason you play Cohn is if you're playing for a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Given the landscape of college football this year, say we beat Cincinnati, say we beat Va Tech, North Carolina, and we're sitting at 5-6-0. That's going to be an interesting conversation moving forward. I think they're probably just going to continue to play the guys that are going to give them the best chance to win. And if that means you play one guy for a series and another guy for 2 series, that's probably what they're going to do. But given the landscape today of college football and, you know, the uncertainty with a lot of these teams, there seems to be a lot of parity this year. We might be looking at running the table. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but, you know, things are looking good. And you beat Cincinnati, a lot of people are going to be talking.
Yeah.
JR, to go off of your point of playing the best players, Brian Kelly this year has made it very obvious. Like, he has said it multiple times that, look, we're going to play the best players. We're going to put the best players on the field to win the game. There's no doubt in my mind that he will continue to do that. Even if we don't agree with who the best players are, in his mind, he does. And I truly think that it's all going to start to come together this game. And this is where I want to get into Cincinnati. Any other final thoughts on Wisconsin?
Best players may vary depending on opponent too.
Right.
You know, so that's something that's probably going to be fluid throughout the year.
Absolutely.
I wanted to bring up one more thing here on this recap in Wisconsin. There was one thing that really stuck out. I've been waiting for Chris Tyree to show off those Jets. I mean, I know he has a couple times and he's had some big plays. I was waiting for him to go full on just a big kick return. He finally did that. He's nicknamed the Jet. I wanted to see those Jets, and he finally turned it on. So hopefully that's something he can build on because he's an electric back. He's an electric playmaker on this team. If you get him more involved, I think it could be lights out.
JR, you saw the Rocket play. Any comparisons to the Jet and the Rocket?
Oof.
Just the jersey.
Well said. All right, fellas, let's start talking about Cincinnati. Obviously, it's our biggest matchup yet, and looking at the schedule playing forward, it's going to be our last really top 10 opponent of the season. USC's on a downward spiral. North Carolina just fell off the face of the earth.
Georgia Tech. Good.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Georgia Tech looks good.
Yep.
Georgia Tech does look good, but they're not top 10, I don't think, when we'll play them. Anyway, I want to know how we will respond after our most physical game yet. I think that's one of the biggest keys. Obviously, both offensive line and defensive line played very physical against Wisconsin. I'm a little worried about how we will respond after that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one here. You know, you look at this contest here with Cincinnati, and look, I got my Jags shirt on today. I hope it's 2-0. I hope the Jags beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and on Saturday, the Fighting Irish beat the Cincinnati Bearcats. But I mean, this is a big week. I mean, this is do or die. You win this football game, like JR said. You win this week, they'll start looking at you. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty at the top of who can be this dominant force in college football this year. Georgia looks good. Can they get some consistency on offense when they get Pickens back? I think that's one thing to look out for there. But, I mean, Alabama's obviously powerhouse, but those 3-4 spots are really up for grabs. I'm not a big believer in Oregon just yet. I think the Irish, if they win this game, they could start getting some momentum. And right now, this is a big matchup on Saturday. If you win this football game, you're going to be in the conversation.
You could argue that if you win this game, you probably have the nicest resume and maybe the best win of any team in the top 25. Oregon may have a little bit of a say in that, winning on the road at the shoe. You know, Georgia's win over Clemson doesn't look quite as good as what it did at the beginning of the year. But going back to your point regarding the lines, if you're going to find a weakness with Cincinnati, it's going to be on their offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Logan, one thing I want to ask you you're more of an offensive guy. Looking at Cincinnati, what are you worried about looking from their offense? Because they are solid offense.
Well, here's what we know. First off, I don't know if you guys watched the IU game, IU should have been up 28-0 generously in that game. They didn't even put up 400 yards against Murray State. I'm not a big Ritter believer, honestly. I think if we pressure him, we have to force him to make plays. Now, if he's able to sit in the pocket and be able to hit they have 2 stud tight ends, a really good receiver, then we're in trouble. But we have to make them one-dimensional. If you're looking at their stats, they run the ball really well. It's super balanced as far as play calling. If you make them one-dimensional, you take away the run, I honestly, with our defense and the way we're playing, hopefully we build that consistency leading up to next week. You could be looking at the same situation as last week. And, Cincy, they really is a good football team. I think it's going to be closer to Wisconsin. But as far as talent-wise, when you match it up, there's no reason Notre Dame should lose this game. No reason.
Absolutely. I fully agree. Now, I'm going to start with JR, move the way to Dylan, and go back to Logan. JR, what are your three main keys to victory against Cincinnati?
Well, they're the same pretty much every game. You got to protect the ball. You got to be fundamentally sound and your tackling on defense. You can't be giving up the big plays. And I don't want to be in a position where we're falling behind. That's going to be something that we're going to struggle with. If that happens, you get down, 10, 14, 17 points, that might be problematic for this offense and the personnel that we have. So, for me, let's score early. Let's get on top of them. Let's reverse the thought process of Ritter and some of his bulletin board material that he's been smacking his lips about and quieting the crowd. Let's get that place. It's a green out, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's make it as difficult as it is. Cincinnati, listen, this ain't the AAC, boys. Welcome to big boy football. You're not playing at Memphis. You're not playing at Tulane or Miami of Ohio. Going back to Logan's point, they were tied with Murray State at halftime. They probably should have lost to IU. They trampled Miami of Ohio. Whoop-de-doo. We're an underdog at home. We're 5-2 in the last 7 situations, I think, with Brian Kelly as a home underdog. I like our spot.
Absolutely. Dylan, go ahead.
That right there is a phenomenal point. And you just got me making me check my sports book on that one. Heck, we're a dog at home against them. I mean, this is honestly a big situation here for the Irish. I mean, I disagree with Logan, though. I do like Desmond Ritter. I think he's a great quarterback. He's someone that is electric and can make plays at that position. So I think that's one thing. You got to stop him. That's one of my keys. The other one is on the offensive line. Can they show some consistency? We mentioned how the line can be, for Cincinnati, the O-line, D-line. That's their weakness. So if the O-line can protect the quarterback, whoever's behind center, I'd imagine it's Cone for most of the game, if not all of it. I think it's going to be another big thing there, and try to get some more explosive plays, whether that's just Chris Tyree or it's Kevin Austin making some plays downfield. Maybe Lindsey catches a deep touchdown the way Fink did against Michigan in that big game. I think it's another thing here where you need big plays. You need to eliminate the best player on their team, which is their quarterback, and then you just got to dominate the line of attack, which I think we will do, especially on the offensive line.
Logan, go ahead.
Well, like JR said, the first priority is taking care of the ball. You can't get behind, especially with what we have available to us and the way this offense has played the last 2 games, which hasn't been great. In my opinion, the first 2-3 weeks were better. The second thing for me is, like we always talk about, is if our O-line is just average, meaning that they're picking up the blitz, they're giving Cone, Pine, Buckner, whoever it is, time, our receivers are going to make plays. And, I would like, going along with Dylan's point, I would like to see Brendan Lindsey coming off a reverse. I would like to see Chris Tyree or Kyron getting a screen rather than, playing vertical the whole game. It's going to be interesting how Cincy's defense and what their scouting report is going to be, because at this point, I think we have proved it's going to be a pick your poison kind of situation. Are we going to let Michael Mayer, do his thing? Are we going to let Kevin Austin do his thing? I think, the dynamic that we have with our offense, we're in a really good spot with one of the best running back cores in the country. Kevin Austin, really good receiver. Brendan Lindsay, super athletics. Wish he would catch the ball a little bit more. And then you have the best tight end in the country. I do think that we see Buckner more this game. I think, if we're not able to run the ball, we'll see that package available. The third thing is we have to make field goals. I think this is going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be one of those games where you got to get points when you can. And, there's not going to be a lot of room for gambling on fourth down or taking deep shots consistently. It's a big game for Tommy Rees, in my opinion, as far as play calling and seeing where he's really, what direction this offense and himself as a coach is going to go, because you see Freeman and our defense clicking, figure those guys out and figure each other out. It's time for Tommy and the play calling and our offense to get on the same page. And hopefully we're able to do that this weekend.
Absolutely. My three keys to the game very quickly. It all comes down to defense. Logan and I have been saying this all this year. Defense wins championships. All comes down to the defensive side, how we play on the defensive side. Also, the offensive line. If we can step up and just get enough time for Cone to get those passes out, I think we will be fine. And lastly, I think it's how our quarterback plays. Whether it's going to be Cone starting. I'm not sure if Buckner's completely healthy or if it's Pine. If it's Pine or Buckner, it doesn't matter. They have to be solid. They have to come in there and they have to do what they've been doing all year. Cone needs to step it up a little bit. Like, this isn't Toledo. This isn't Purdue. This isn't Florida State. This is Cincinnati. They got to step it up a little bit. So with that being said, let's get into our Week 5 picks. But before we do that, I want to know, boys, what is going on in Clemson and in Columbus right now?
Man, you look at the Clemson Tigers, and I've got everybody drinking the juice down here. We're going in. I remember the night right before NC State. I was sitting there at my friend's house, and they're like, it's all right. We got NC State. I said, well, we're about to lose to Wisconsin. That's when I was thinking, all right, this is going to be a close game. I was like, we're going to lose to Wisconsin on Saturday. She's like, oh, well, we should roll over NC State. I was like, don't sleep on them. And sure enough, they got crushed. So 2 losses in September for Clemson. That is absolutely mind-boggling. And they look like they're falling apart. Their offensive play calling hasn't been good. Uagalelei's been pretty bad. I mean, they have no run game. I think they're an absolute disaster right now.
Absolutely, they are.
Ain't no sunshine in Clemson. That's the biggest issue. You see how good of a coach Dabo is. Bring your own guts. It's easy to bring your own guts when you got sunshine down there, Etienne in the backfield, your wideouts are making plays. Those guys are gone.
Go ahead, Logan.
I think it's really to Notre Dame, like from a Notre Dame perspective, trying to take the bias out of it. This year was supposed to be a transition year, looking on to next year, 10-2, 9-3 year.
Yep.
You look at teams like Ohio State, which is a dumpster fire. That's going to blow up sooner or later. You may not even see them in the Big Ten championship, in my opinion. And then you look at Clemson, the same thing. It's been Alabama is better than everybody else. And then there's Notre Dame, Oklahoma, arguably Clemson, Ohio State. Those 3 teams aren't very good. And from what Notre Dame's been able to do, not only this year but the last 4 years, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, JR, I saw you retweeted it, 47-5. That's unheard of. And, to be with the resources we have, with the academic standards, not using it as an excuse, it's just the reality with what we have and the product that we put on the field consistently, we win games. And, it's a testament to Brian Kelly. I think he's become underrated as a coach, and Notre Dame is underrated as a program for the first time in a long time, as we have been overrated, which has been proven. But at the same time, I think that, we finally have made that leap to where maybe we are in the same conversation as Ohio State, as maybe a Georgia or a Clemson. I'd be confident to play Clemson, Ohio State Saturday, and be confident enough that, not only could we compete, but we could win the game.
Go ahead, JR.
Congratulations to Coach Kelly too. I think we're not doing him any favors by recognizing the accomplishment that he made. I'm sure we would all like a national championship, and so would he. But even still, to be the all-time winningest, the most wins in Notre Dame history as a head coach, it's still a hell of an accomplishment.
Absolutely, it is. All right, fellas, let's start getting into our Week 5 picks. Last week, winner is yours truly. All right.
Time.
Nice of you to join the show last week, bud. Friday at 8 p.m., we have 5th-ranked Iowa on the road at Maryland. This could be a game, to be honest with you. We'll start with Logan, JR, Dylan, myself. My bad.
This one's a tricky one. Iowa could be looking forward to next week. I do want to still pick Iowa. Their defense is really good. Their offense isn't very good. Two of his little brothers playing really well at Maryland. It's going to be a close game, but I'm going to roll with the Hawkeyes.
I'm going to go with Iowa too, but their quarterback is holding them back. Their offense, or lack thereof, is going to keep a team like Maryland in the game. But I'm going to stick with Iowa. Tricky game though on a Friday night.
Yeah, and they have Penn State next weekend, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah. Look ahead. Look ahead.
Yeah, I'm torn here. I think Maryland can pull it out, but I haven't picked against the Hawkeyes this year. Even Week 1 against IU, I'm going to keep it with Iowa.
I'm going with the Hawkeyes as well in a very close game. This isn't going to be high scoring at all. I think it's in the low 20s if I'm being totally honest with you. But give me the Hawkeyes. Unfortunately, they'll still be in the top 5 after this week. 9 p.m., 13th ranked BYU at Utah State.
Mormons.
I'm going to go BYU too, but could be a little bit of a tricky spot. But I'll stick with BYU.
Yeah, this is a Utah Bowl or whatever it is. I'm going BYU as well.
As JR said, BYU's coming in hot. I mean, they pulled off 2 straight upsets in the Pac-12. This is going to be a little bit of a letdown, but I'm going with the Mormons. Give me BYU. Saturday, let's start the Saturday slate, 12 p.m. Right here, boys. 8th ranked Arkansas at number 2 Georgia on ESPN.
Last time I checked the spread, it was minus 18.5 Georgia. I think Arkansas is going to cover, but taking the Bulldogs.
I agree with that. They will cover. I'd look for Arkansas to have a little bit of a letdown after the last couple of weeks that they've had. Not a back-to-back road game, but still a neutral site into a road game. That's tough. Early start. I'm going to stick with Georgia, but I look for Arkansas to cover the 18.
Yeah, I agree there. I think it's probably like a 33-20-ish game. If it gets that high, I think it's a 13-point victory for Georgia.
I'm going with Georgia to cover the spread 100%. I think they absolutely roll them over. How good's Texas A&M? They're not very good. I'm going with Georgia. They won't even give up. I think they give up 10 points. I'm going with Georgia 31-10. Their defense is too good to let the team like Arkansas score more than 10 points. Georgia. All right, 14th ranked Michigan at an angry Wisconsin. If Paul Chris does not perform well here, his seat might be getting a little warm up there in Madison.
Listen, this is a tricky one because Michigan runs the ball really well. Wisconsin still has probably one of the best front 7 in the country. I'm going to roll with Wisconsin. I'm going to take them at home, good defense, and Michigan really hasn't proved much of anything. Obviously, last week it struggled with Rutgers, so I'm going to roll with the Badgers.
Give me Michigan. Graham Mertz might be the worst quarterback that I've seen in the last 10 years in college football. He is god awful. I'm serious. Give me Michigan.
So minus
that?
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wisconsin's got the line. I'm sitting here thinking about this. So watch Michigan. If this is the year they finally beat Ohio State and say they run the table, how cool would it be if we end up playing Michigan in the playoff? That would be awesome. But anyway, I got the Wolverines winning this one big.
I may have to change my pick last minute.
Why? Because you didn't realize Graham Mertz was the worst quarterback in the last decade?
No, I picked Michigan earlier in the week. I make my picks on Monday. I'm going to go with Wisconsin. I don't think they can get through that defensive line. You're right.
I got thinking.
You did. You really had. You really did. Michigan has not proved anything this year.
Except they can run the football.
Yeah.
They can, but can they run on a good defensive line, which they have yet to play? I'm going with Wisconsin at home. Start playing that jump around. Paul Chryst gets to keep his job. All right. 12:30 p.m. We got Louisville at number 24, Wake Forest.
Wake looks good. I'm going to roll with them.
I agree. Wake does look good. They got a nice team, especially on offense. I'll stick with Wake.
Give me the Demon Deacons.
Look, if this was Clemson undefeated right now, obviously, they'd be top 4. Wake Forest looks very good. This is this is just a prime example of like branding in college football. But I'm going with Wake. I'm going with Wake big. Louisville's a dumpster fire. That guy needs to go and quickly, very quickly. 2:30 p.m. We got UL Monroe at number 16, Coastal. I already know what Dylan's going to say, but Logan, go ahead.
Minus 34.5. I'm taking Coastal.
Coastal.
It's crystal clear. It's the Chanticleers.
Oh God, yeah. Give me Coastal big time. Please play a ranked team. Please play a ranked team. 3:30 p.m. 12th ranked Ole Miss at number 1 Alabama on CBS. Wish I could watch this game.
This one's interesting. I'm going to roll with Bama. Spreads at minus 14.5. I'm taking Ole Miss to cover. Offense is really good, but I'm taking Bama.
Yeah, a lot of blood boiling underneath the surface on this game, especially between the two head coaches, I think. I think Bama's going to win, but I think Ole Miss will cover the 14.
They played a close game last year. I do think Alabama will pull this one out, though, so give me the Tide.
They played a close game and a shootout. Took Alabama like 60 points to win against Ole Miss. I'm in love with Lane Kiffin's style of coaching. Offense, he kind of throws out defense. He wants to interpret offense more. Offense has been something that I feel that Alabama struggles with in the big games a little bit, especially this year, like against Florida. They did not look too impressive, and especially their defense. I'm going with Ole Miss in the upset. I'm going with Ole Miss in the Lane train. That Lane train keeps on chugging, and I'm going with the Rebels on the road.
Quick sidebar: how high does Notre Dame jump if Alabama drops from that one spot, losing to Ole Miss?
How far do we jump?
You think that has any factor at all?
Do they beat Cincy?
Yeah, say they beat Cincy and say Alabama loses.
Top 4. I would assume.
I'm going top 3. I'm going top 3.
Ooh.
I could put us 4. Putting Alabama at 3 still.
That voter bias is still well endowed against Notre Dame. We could win and probably drop with these clowns.
You're not wrong. It's happened before. It's happened. Where was I? 3:30 p.m. Sorry. 3rd ranked Oregon at Stanford. I thought Stanford was going to be something. Then they turn out to just lay flat.
Stanford doesn't look terrible as we thought, in my opinion. I'm still taking the Ducks though.
Yeah, give me Oregon. Stanford, they've got some depth issues, but I'm going to stick with Oregon. It's always a good game between these two teams, though.
Yeah, I'll take the Duck.
As JR mentioned, Stanford's got some major depth issues. I'm going with Oregon. Closer game than you think. David Shaw is always prepared to play Oregon no matter what his team. He could be winless, and he always plays Oregon to their best. 6th ranked Oklahoma at K-State. K-State has beaten what? Is it 4 straight? Is it 4? I think it's 4.
They've beaten Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think it's 4.
At least 3.
Yeah.
Oh man, this one's a tough one. Oklahoma, obviously, very overrated. I'm still going to rock with them. Wouldn't be shocked if they got beat, though.
Where's the game at?
It's in K-State, at K-State.
K-State, they laid an egg last week. I thought they were going to win outright against Oak State. They did not. They got down early. I look for them to bounce back. I think they're going to beat Mobile Homa.
You know what? I'm going to take Mobile Homa.
I'm going to go with K-State in this one, like JR. Oklahoma's offense does not look good at all. K-State's offense, I mean, they put up more points than Oklahoma has this year already. Give me K-State. That streak continues. There goes my national championship pick. Thanks, Oklahoma. 11th ranked Ohio State at Rutgers on the Big Ten Network. Underrated game. Underrated game.
Give me the Buckeyes.
Yeah, give me Ohio State too. The tide's starting to turn a little bit on Ryan Day. The natives are restless here locally. They think he's a pretty good offensive coach, obviously, but these are his players now, and they're not performing the way that most would like. There's a lot of issues going on internally, but they're still good enough to beat Rutgers.
Urban's guys aren't performing in the NFL. I'll take Ohio State here.
Yeah, I'll take OSU in this one. End of the day, Rutgers is Rutgers. No matter if they're undefeated, one loss, Rutgers is Rutgers. 6 p.m., 10th ranked Florida, at Kentucky.
Gators big.
A little bit of a tricky spot here, but I'll go Florida.
Give me the Wildcats.
You kidding?
No.
Wow. Wow. Kentucky's undefeated. Who they played? Give me Florida big. Louisiana Tech at number 23, NC State.
Give me the Wildcats.
I'll go with the Wolfpack.
Or Wolfpack, whatever.
Yeah, I will also be taking NC State here.
Give me NC State. They look good.
Could be a letdown.
It could be a letdown.
Could be.
I'm trying to think. Is Wake Forest and NC State in the same division in the ACC? I think they are. That'd be an interesting ACC matchup, ACC championship matchup, but unfortunately we won't get to see it. All right, moving on. Got to go quickly here. 7 p.m. We got Mississippi State and an overrated 15th ranked Texas A&M squad.
Give me Texas A&M.
I'll go A&M in a bounce back.
Love the bias in your statement there, Landon. But yeah, I'm also going to be taking some Texas A&M here.
Texas A&M is only rated 15th in the country because their head coach is named Jimbo Fisher. Give me Mississippi State in the upset. Texas A&M literally scored 10 points last week. 10 points, and they scored 10 points to beat a Colorado team who has one win this year. Give me Mississippi State. God.
Jimbo Fisher sounds like the Franks you get at the freaking grocery store.
He's a disgrace to college football. 21st ranked Baylor at 19. Oh, he let his guys at Florida State go out there stealing crab legs. You know who I'm talking about. And yet he's still able to play in the national championship. Unbelievable. No discipline. 21st ranked Baylor at number 19, Oklahoma State, as we are running out of time. So let's speed it up a little bit.
Give me Baylor.
Baylor.
Yeah, the Bears.
Running out of time, giving a 10-minute rant about damn crab legs.
Whatever. I'm probably going to end up sending another link in case we do run out of time. If it cuts us off, I'm going to send another link, so don't go anywhere. I'm going with Oklahoma State in this one. I like Oklahoma State. I always have. I've always been a fan of Mike Gundy. Big fan of his. I'm going
Are
with.
you?
Yeah, I am.
You got a poster on your wall?
Here we go.
You know what? Just because the Cardinals clinched the other day and the Cubs are going to be sitting on their ass at home watching us on TV, let's just settle down a little bit. But, Baylor fans snuck into Oklahoma's stadium and put a bear on midfield. Give me the Cowboys. Boom boom. 7:30 p.m. We got Indiana at 4th ranked Penn State.
Nittany Lions.
Yeah, give me Tickle Me Sandusky.
Holy shit. Holy. All right. Yeah, my partner who calls games with me is a big Penn State fan. He's up from the Pennsylvania area. He's been riding this Penn State squad, and I'm starting to believe him. I believe in the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Jesus.
I got one for you every week.
Indiana's a joke right now. They've been practicing Leo every week. Give me Penn State big and a stripe out. Why is this game a prime time game?
ABC, baby.
Western Kentucky at number 17, Michigan State.
Give me Sparty.
Michigan State.
Sparty.
Jeez.
Dylan, you rolling with Sparty?
Sparty.
Yeah, Michigan State. I'm rolling with Michigan State as well. Moving on here to already did that one. Boston College at number 25, Clemson.
Give me Clemson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Clemson too. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think that Boston College would boat race him if Jerko was healthy, but he's not. So I'm going to sit here, and as our producer Anthony would say, I'm picking Clemens.
I'm going with Boston College here. Their offense looks good even without Jerkovic. Give me Boston College.
They're undefeated too, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
4-0.
they're undefeated. If they win this one, obviously they'll be top 25. I think Clemson still has no business in the top 25, especially how they played. I get their schedule, but they have not played well. So I'm going with Boston College. Yeah. 9 p.m. We got 22nd ranked Auburn at LSU. Coach O.
Give me the Tigers.
Which
No.
one?
Auburn.
Which one?
Both.
This is in Death Valley,
Yes.
Yep.
and it's a 9:00 start.
Yes.
Holy smokes. Give me LSU.
Yeah, I cried a little on the inside when Bo Nix got hurt last week, but hopefully he's all right. I'm going to be picking LSU regardless.
I got LSU. Coach O saved his job last week by beating Mississippi State. Give me the Cookie Monster, LSU, Coach O. 10:30 p.m., as JR likes to say, Pac-12 after dark, baby. Arizona State at number 20, UCLA.
Give me the Bruins.
Where's this at? This is at
Rose Bowl. Usla.
I'm gonna take a flyer and see if I can't gain a game. Give me the Sun Devils.
See, I took my flyer on Kentucky. The only difference there is I'm an idiot. I'm going to be saying that Arizona State wins this game. I have never picked against Herm, I don't think.
At least you admit it. I'm going with Arizona State here. I haven't picked against Herm Edwards because you know what, guys? You play to win the game. You play to win the game. That's what it comes down to. All right, 11 p.m., 18th ranked Fresno State at Hawaii.
Fresno State.
Yeah, Fresno. They looked awful last week, though.
They did.
Yeah, I'll go Fresno State.
Yeah, Fresno State laid a brick against UNLV and still managed to go up in the poll somehow. Don't ask me why. I'm going with Fresno State, by the way. Non-ranked game of the week. This has so much implications. This could honestly define both teams' season on where they go from here. At 7:30 p.m. on ESPN, we got Virginia at Miami. The Hurricanes are struggling.
Oh boy. Give me Miami.
The only thing worse than Graham Mertz might be Miami's head coach. Give me Virginia.
Is that Manny guy?
Manny Diaz.
Manny Diaz.
Yeah, I do not like Derek King either. I think he is straight up trash. So I'm going to be picking Virginia.
Is he out? Isn't he still out?
He could be.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Either way, if he's starting over the backup, once again, Miami's got quarterback issues. I'm taking the Cavaliers.
I'm going with Virginia in this one. Miami, Diaz is going to be fired. No doubt about it. It's all about the U. He's bringing the U back. Yeah, he's turned the U back upside down. Our not-so game of the week is at 5:30 p.m. It seems Washington State makes an appearance on this every week. Washington State at California.
Oof.
Give me Cal.
Yeah, I'll take Cal too.
For the second time today, I will be saying the Bears.
Yeah, wish Bears fans could probably say that right now. Da Bears. Probably want Dicka back. Yeah, 47 total yards of offense. Go Pack, go. I'm going with Cal in this one. I don't like picking West Coast teams, but got to. Give me Cal. 2:30 p.m. Here we go, boys. 7th ranked Cincinnati at number 9, Notre Dame on NBC.
I got the Irish. Let's go Notre Dame 34, Cincy 27.
You know, I'm not going to pick Notre Dame to lose for a second week in a row. I think it's beneficial that Ritter opened his mouth. That's going to play well in our locker room.
Poke the bear.
Second week in a row where we're facing a team coming off of a bye in preparation for us. This early in the year, I think that could actually backfire on Cincinnati. They may be a little bit rusty. They've probably never played in an environment quite like Notre Dame, even though the game at IU, that place was rocking. But I think Notre Dame's defense is gonna make a stand. Freeman's gonna know how to defend Ritter. I like Notre Dame as a home dog. I like our spot. I think Notre Dame's gonna win. Give me the Irish 28-23.
And I also think the Irish will win this game, but I was thinking along the lines of 27-23. That's where I think the line, or that's where I just think that it's going to end up. I don't think that our defense gives up a lot of points, and that's a credit to Freeman for figuring that out last week a little bit and building off of what they can do this week. Depth was shown on the defensive side, so hopefully that continues this week. And I think the Irish will just step up and start making more plays, which will help them win the game.
Do we know if Heinisch is going to be back?
Kelly, I saw a tweet by Pete Sampson. I do think he is out, but they're trying.
He's still
He's still not.
Okay.
He's not back. I just saw the tweet.
But we get him. Who's the
next week? Virginia Tech. We get him. Virginia Tech.
We got 2 coming back though this week.
Yes, we do. I also saw that in his tweet. Anyway, let me make my pick if that's okay with you guys. JR,
Nope.
you might
Not at
make
all.
my pick.
Go right ahead, sir.
All right, I'm going Notre Dame here, 31-17.
Holy crap.
I really love our defense. I think Freeman will definitely be able to shut down the Cincinnati offense. And I think a few turnovers from the Bearcat offense, we might even take one to the house, a defensive score. It's close. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a close game. I think we're going to trail at halftime, but I think we blow it open like in the 4th quarter when they throw a pick 6 or something. We just get all the momentum on. How dare he say, Ritter, it's time to shut them up. No, look, you don't say that. You just don't say that. My God, have some respect.
That's how you fire up a lifeless Cincinnati squad.
Yeah, that's just like coming into Indiana and saying, basketball's dumb. You don't do that. Notre Dame is a college football cathedral. You just don't. Let's show a little bit of respect.
That's why he's at Cincinnati, Landen.
Agreed. Because he couldn't get into Notre Dame. All right. Well, boys, any final thoughts on Cincinnati? Any final words of advice? You got anything, Tickle Me Sandusky?
No, I don't know if you guys saw last week though that Freeman deployed a 4-4-3. We played a lot of snaps in the 4-4-3. I don't know if we're going to have the luxury to be able to do that up against their offense and their skill position, but I like the ability of Freeman to adjust on the fly week to week. And he's probably going to have some kind of a scheme set up for Ritter and fickle.
Yeah, I agree.
I think our defense is going to play really well. Love the point by JR. The ability to make adjustments, on the fly is really good, positive for this group. I think our O-line is going to have a breakout game. I think we're going to have more than 100 yards rushing for the first time this year.
Nice.
We need it.
Boy, that'd be nice.
We need it.
A great take. I want to piggyback off of what Logan said earlier about field goals. Johnny Doerr's got to be consistent, man. He can't come out there and miss a 30-yarder and just bang a 55 one with guts. Like, you gotta find a way to start drilling either. You got to find a way to show some sort of consistency. You can't miss the chip shots because late in the game, those 3 points can cost you, especially against a squad like Cincinnati. So hopefully Doerr brings his right leg, and hopefully he brings the right mindset to bang them through the post.
You got to kick it to Chris.
Yeah.
I wonder what that dynamic from a special team standpoint from Cincy, if that, that can affect, us in a good way. If they're trying to avoid kicking it to Chris, kick it out of bounds, help us with field position, stuff like that, that could definitely help too.
I'm sitting here thinking of the explicit text that Dylan sent to me last week. I can't say on the air, but it was definitely really, really funny. Just something about Doerr being consistent.
Yeah.
Biggest game of the year. I can't say I'm nervous. I can't say I'm not nervous for it, but it's at home. We don't lose at home. We don't lose at home often, especially under Brian Kelly. Do you guys think there'll be a lot of emotions for both Freeman and Kelly? They both
Absolutely.
Probably more so for Freeman than Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly's been removed for over 10 years, so
right.
Let's kick the ball off. Let's go. Let's knock them in the teeth.
Right. Let's play ball. All right. Well, thank you guys both for being here. Thank you to our fans for being here. And as always, Irish fans, go Irish and love the Notre Dame. Catch you next time.